Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. We are live today for our third and final for a long time primary night. Wow, very exciting to be here today. My name is Spencer Walsh. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I don't know, I'm talking a bit of Shack Tent. We got some great news though, however, for primaries across 4 states. That's just supreme. Tremendous. Amazing. Okay, welcome to the show. Today we got primaries in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Connecticut, and Vermont. And spoiler alert, I've had a little bit of a peek ski at the results, and the left is looking sharp. Tonight, August 14th. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go through the races now. We are starting in Minnesota. We start with the top, the governor, where Jeff Johnson is right now 54-43, edging out Tim Pawlenty, the old man, and he's being Jeff Johnson for the New York Times puts him as quote unquote a tough-talking, Trump-supporting county commissioner. Yeah, that's the type that's pretty much guaranteed you to win elections with the Republican electorate. So it looks like Jeff Johnson will probably win there. Tim Walz edges out Aaron Murphy on the Democratic side. Don't really have a stake. Left doesn't really have a stake in any of those races. So yeah, Amy Klobuchar won re-election to the Senate, or won her party's nomination. Yeah, so also there is Tina Smith beating Richard Painter. That's a good one. Tina Smith, special Democratic primary for the U.S. Special Senate election, Tina Smith beat Richard Painter, Ali Ali, Greg Iverson, and Christopher Seymour. But here's the thing. Richard Painter, I don't know if you knew this, but it's by a margin of 76.3 to 14.3, was a George Bush official ethics lawyer who decided from switching over to being Republican. He said, I have Republican positions, but I don't like the president, our current president, which is fair enough. I think many people do. So he switched sides, and he said, I want to be running as a Democrat in Minnesota. But wait a minute. There's a little bit of a problem. You were a Republican who worked under George Bush. And Americans know that. They also, as much as they don't like Donald Trump, they don't have the fondest memories of George Bush either. So, yeah, goodbye. Yeah, he's going to be taking care on Karen Housley in the U.S. House District 1 of Minnesota. U.S. House District 1 of Minnesota, Dan Feehan is edging out Colin Meinhardt early on. Doesn't mean anything to me. Andy Craig won in U.S. House District 2. Never really heard of her before for the Democratic primary. But she is a combination of both Angie's List and Craig's List. So maybe that's why the name rung a brief bell. Anyway, U.S. House District 4, nothing going on. But we get to U.S. House District 5. Before we do that, I do want to go back up to Wisconsin, excuse me. In Minnesota, we have running in U.S. House District 5, Frank Drake, Bobby Joe Champion, Jamal Abdullah, Patricia Torres Ray, and also we have Margaret Anderson Kelleher. And we also have Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar is the would-be, if elected, the first Muslim woman to ever be in Congress. Very exciting. That is some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, and that's some very pretty cool stuff. And looks like, and this is, by the way, U.S. District 5 is Keith Ellison's home district, and the DNC right now is reviewing allegations that Keith Ellison abused his ex-girlfriend, so there probably is a pretty good chance that he's not going to be around for a long time. Ellison is a large primary lead in his run for Minnesota AG, and the number 2 leader at the DNC after losing by a narrow margin to Tom Perez last year. So he's running for Attorney General right now in Minnesota. We'll get to him in a minute. He's up 53.8 to 16.2, but he used to be in District 5, and the person running to replace him is Ilhan Omar, and you know what time it is. I am going to play a little bit. I'm going to play a little bit of I'm going to play with a little bit of her video here, and this is some pretty cool stuff. So this is Ilhan Omar, and she's running for Congress, and this is, by the way, she's the person who's up for primary nomination tonight in District 5, won by Keith Ellison. So keep in mind, pretty progressive district. So if there's a chance, she very well could possibly win. She already made history by the first person to be elected to the state legislature in Minnesota. So let's see how she did. But first, I do very much want you to hear this ad. This is Ilhan for Congress.
This country says it was founded on fundamental values of justice, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But these core beliefs are under threat. We're spending more money incarcerating people than educating them. Mass shootings continue to terrorize the nation. A wealthy few profit off the destruction of our environment. And children are being caged and separated from their families. These systems of oppression were built by people. They persist because Congress doesn't have the moral clarity and courage to fight and to defend our democracy. Ultimately, they've proven unwilling to secure the American promise for our people. But we can change that. My mom is Ilhan Omar. 23 years ago, in a refugee camp, she was hearing about that American promise. Prosperity for all and hope for a better tomorrow. And when her family got here, they worked hard for that promise. My grandfather worked at the post office. My aunt cared for patients who couldn't afford health insurance. And my mom has been a working person her whole life. From cleaning offices in Bloomington and Richfield to working at call centers in Minneapolis. She's always been an organizer. Her grandfather taught her that if you want a certain world, you need to fight for it. She's fought for better wages alongside her union, for civil rights with the NAACP, for healthy foods for our poorest communities, and for a seat at the table and a voice for women like her, women like me. And now she's running for Congress to continue that fight. For tuition-free and debt-free college, Medicare for all, housing as a human right, abolishing ICE and private prisons, clean elections that cannot be bought, and an economy that works for all of us, not just the wealthy few. We need a democracy that guarantees a more equitable and just society that gets us closer to the American promise. The America my mom believes in. The America we deserve.
This is why, this ad, this person, this message is why it makes me so proud to announce to you today, Ilhan Omar is the Democratic nominee, officially, after defeating by 18 points her closest opponent, Margaret Anderson Kelleher. She will be, most likely, U.S. House District 5's representative. Chills from that ad, chills from her entire candidacy. Really just some absolutely incredible stuff. Ilhan Omar, salute to her. She will be, along with Rashid Tlaib, two of the first women to be elected to Congress. Two of the first Muslim women, to be elected to Congress. And it's really some chillingly amazing stuff. And it's just so amazing to see her doing this and winning by such an incredible margin. She was endorsed, she was campaigned with AOC, and now she is going to the HOR, House of Representatives. So if she holds on against what looks to be likely nominee, Jennifer Zielinski, in the U.S. House District 5s. And I mean, I don't know how Democratic that is, but I mean, Keith Ellison represented it. So, yeah, so that seems to be what looks to be like it's a pretty secure district. Yeah, and I'm just gonna look at this. I'm just gonna try and pull it up here quickly. It's Keith Ellison right now. And it's a small urban district, this district that she won, with parts of Anoka and Ramsey counties, the district was represented by the first Muslim to ever serve in the U.S. House of Representatives, Keith Ellison, the first person of color to represent Minnesota in the chamber, which is pretty cool. And it is relatively, it's been a lot of times it's been Democrat. It's been Democratic since it's been Democratic since 1963, which is pretty crazy. It's sound on there pretty strong. So it looks like she has the upper hand, at least. I can say that pretty confidently, to go to the U.S. Congress, which is very cool stuff. She'll hopefully give us the America we deserve. Wow. Yeah, really cool stuff. Ilhan Omar is going to Congress, U.S. House of Representative District 5. She's going to do it. She's going to do it, folks. She's going to make us all proud. All right. Any other results here in U.S. House District 8? There, Joe Radinovich will be the nominee. Also now, in Keith Ellison, looks like he has the lead again over on the other Attorney General race for Minnesota, the Democratic side. But now we turn to Wisconsin. Wisconsin is our next state we're going to be checking out. Tony Evers is the Democratic nominee for governor, all locked up, but he'll be facing Scott Walker. It's going to be a tough climb for him. Now for the U.S. Senate, Tammy Baldwin, uncontested incumbent. Looks like she's got a pretty good shot to win that one. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we got another Justice Democratic race here, U.S. House District 1. And first, I do want to give you a little bit of some very satisfying news. Paul Nealon, a white supremacist, vowing to challenge Paul Ryan from the right. He's also in this race. And by the way, Randy Bryce, the Justice Democrat, was going to be challenging Paul Ryan as well, but Paul Ryan dropped out on this pretty stiff primary challenge. So Paul Nealon, he's a avowed white supremacist, supported people in Charlottesville, all that stuff. Tons of white supremacist history and past. Literally posted a list of reporters and said, these people are the Jewish media trying to come at me. And like half of them are Jewish, which is a pretty funny thing. Yeah, he's an alt-right crazy. And I am pleased to report tonight he has received just a mere 10.8% of the vote and is in fourth place. Brian Steele has already secured the nomination with 80% reporting. But now we turn to Randy Bryce. He's going to be challenging from the left. He's a Justice Democrat. He's gotten a lot of fame as this guy, this guy's name is Iron Stash, and that's what they call him. He's an iron worker. Pretty cool. But this is his ad from back in December, so before Paul Ryan resigned. So take a little bit of this.
It takes a lot to do a little.
This has been a long and winding path for this tax bill. Economists say that Republicans are just doing favors for the wealthy.
It takes a lot more than votes to know what needs to get done. Survival, commitment, faith, looking to the future. Not long ago, we had something waiting for us. Footsteps to follow. A trade. A promise of better times if we paid our dues. And we would do the work we love for free if the world was cheaper. But it's not.
Tax cuts for corporations paid for by taking away health care from people, by raising taxes on individuals.
And so we break a sweat. And we break our backs. Single